to the Art of Decluttering podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Kirsty Ferrugia from Feels Like Home Professional Organisers.
And I'm Amy Revell from Simply Organised. We can't wait to share with you all our tips and tricks to help you declutter and keep your home and family organised.
If you'd like to engage with the podcast further, you can find us at the Art of Decluttering on Facebook.
Let's get started. You've joined us for episode 61 of the Art of Decluttering. Today we'll be talking about decluttering and organising for teachers.
Wow!
Ashleigh Newman is the one that requested this episode. And I know that Ash is married to someone who is a teacher one day a week and perhaps a little bit more creative than organised. And I know that there are so many teachers that listen to our podcast because, do you know how I know? Because so many of our clients are teachers.
Yes.
So many of our clients are teachers.
I think teachers in general fall into two categories. This is a mass generalisation, just putting it out
Male
there.
and female?
Haha, no.
Old and young?
No.
Experienced and not experienced? No. Private and public?
No.
High school and primary school?
No.
I could keep going forever.
You could.
No, hit me with it.
Uber organised and uber unorganised.
Yep. It's so true. And we never see the uber organised ones.
Yes.
I never have.
Although I think this episode will still help the uber organised ones.
Oh, yes, it will. Yes.
Because this is not just for those beautiful souls who love our children dearly and pour all their energy into loving our children.
I love how you say that. No, this is for all teachers. Great
And small. They're not animals.
We're having a flashback to the RSPCA ad that was back in the 80s or the 90s, and they'd have a little wombat run across at the end. Does anyone else remember that ad? Because Kirsty's looking at me like I'm a bit weird.
No, because that's not the flashback that's coming back to me.
Oh, what's your flashback?
All Creatures Great and Small, the show.
Oh.
The TV show.
I don't know that show.
It's a British show.
That's
about
why
a vet.
I wouldn't know it.
About a vet. Okay. My mum loved it, even though she doesn't like animals.
Right.
Weird.
So teachers.
Yeah. Back onto teachers.
So teachers traditionally have, teaching and the teaching profession, whether it's in primary school, high school, TAFE, university, have traditionally been a profession where you need to have lots and lots and lots of physical resources.
Yes.
So papers, books, references, folders of things.
Like books, like reading books.
Reading books.
They take... And the other thing about teachers that is unique and not so unique is that their profession doesn't pay them very well. So, as a generalisation, and so a lot of their resources that they buy come from their own pockets.
That is teachers are very generous.
Yes.
To their occupation.
Yes. So that's an added layer of, but I bought it with my own money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to let it go because I sacrificed whatever to buy this resource for the children that I love that are not my biological children.
Yeah, that's right. So really what we're talking about then is teachers of all varieties with all range of resources. And teachers love stationery traditionally.
Yes.
Traditionally.
Stereotypically.
Love stationery. Books,
because
pens,
they
highlighters, boxes, folders, colour coordinated this, dividers, filing cabinets, you name it,
they
teachers
love it.
have it somewhere.
Yes. As a gross generalisation.
Yes.
Generalisation.
That's okay. We're generalising.
Yes.
So what we want to help you do is not feel like you've got so much stuff and yet not able to access what you want. Because I have had experience with teachers where we find something, like we're going through, say, a drawer, and they say, oh my gosh, I was looking for that exact piece of paper last term because I was teaching Macbeth and I couldn't find it.
We have that with all of our clients all the time, no matter what their profession, no matter what their home. We have that.
Yeah, the discovery process.
Yes. That's where it was. I've been looking for it for years.
And all the more with teachers, isn't it? Because most teachers have a brain that remembers, I remember I printed off a resource about that thing and I printed it and I thought, I'll use that again.
Yes.
Never to see that piece of paper again.
Poor teachers.
I know, it's such a big load.
It is.
But I'm so grateful to teachers because I am not a natural teacher. I'm not a natural, like, take a complex thing and explain it really easily. And I'm not naturally someone who can handle multitudes.
Aren't we lucky that you're not a teacher teaching our children how to speak?
I'd be making up my own Amy language. It'd be totally fine. And so, teachers, we honour you. We thank you. Here.
We really do. You're amazing.
We do.
Amazing.
And we want to help you to be more free to do the thing that you love by not being tied up with paperwork all the time. Because teachers feel like the burden of paperwork is huge.
Because it is. Because our governments are so generous in giving our teachers even more and more and more work to do, from curriculum and bureaucracy.
So let's make use of your precious time.
Yes.
Let's not have you spending every weekend working. Let's have you out and enjoying your family and enjoying downtime. So let's make the time you do put into work less stressful and way less cluttered.
Yes, let's do that. How are we going to do that, Amy?
They could get us in, or they could listen to this podcast, or both.
Or both. So we know how awesome you are at collecting resources. You're like a gun at collecting resources. You've either got it from your school.
She's speaking to you guys, not me.
Yeah, no. Amy's a gun at
not
her
at
job.
collecting resources.
Yes, she is a gun. But you, precious, dear, sweet listeners who are teachers, you're a gun at finding resources, sharing them with your teaching partners, and sharing them with your beautiful children. However, we want you to question whether or not you need that resource in the physical form for the rest of eternity. Just a little
dramatic
melodramatic.
There. I like it. The drama teacher in Kirsty's coming out. I have a drama teacher at the moment as one of my clients, and she's also like amazing at singing. So sometimes we'll like pull out wigs and dresses, and she'll chuck something on and like take on a new character. And last time I was working with her, she said to me, like, we're in our leggings and our T-shirts getting dirty in the garage. She's like, all right, we're going to pretend that we're bogans for the next 5 minutes. And so she like wanted me to role play with her. She had so much fun, and she sings for me. So whether you're a maths teacher or a drama teacher, get on board. This is going to be fun. Sorry, Cass, that was just a side story.
That's fine. You see Amy, she's like waving her hands like nobody's biz. Okay, so where was I before you so enlighteningly interrupted me? You don't know? So you have resources that you want to keep, but can you easily find it again? Or can you store it in a way that you can easily find it again? Can you scan it? Is it something that you got in 1985 and it is not accessible online anywhere? You've tried looking on the internet, but you just can't find that same resource again. Or you've never looked on the internet for it because you've had it somewhere in your drawers. So can you scan it and have it filed in your filing system on your computer in a really easy way that you can type in a reference to it and it will find it really easily?
Yeah, so teachers, I really want to encourage you when it comes to your online storage is to be really logical about how you do storage. So you might have a folder called school, and then subfolders in there might be English, history, and English lit. And they're the 3 subjects that you're teaching. And in English, there might be subfolders year 8, year 9, and year 11, because they're the subjects that you're teaching. And then in year 8, you might have Macbeth, creative writing, and medieval poetry, because they're the topics that you're going to cover. And so by having things filed really easily and just file them there straight up, don't dump stuff on your desktop and think, oh, I'll file it when I get a chance. Make that logical, because you will thank yourself. Your future self will thank you when you actually have to go and find something.
Google Drive is another friend of yours.
Google Drive is awesome.
Because you can just type in Shakespeare and it will find all reference to anything ever that you've ever got on your Google Drive.
Not just in the headings, which is great. So
yes.
Even if you don't title things well, it's in the document, so they'll find it.
Yeah, so it will find it. So you'll...
They have minions sitting in all parts of the world just like searching your documents.
That might freak some people out.
Sorry.
So that's another great resource, Google Drive.
Yep.
Because you can scan things into that and have it there, and it will find things for you very easily.
One teacher that I helped, this was awesome. My year 11 English teacher contacted me about 2 years ago, and I went and helped her at her new school to organise her English office.
Awesome.
So it was really fun working with one of my older teachers who I just adored when I was at high school. And something that we did, so I was talking about those folders and subfolders, we actually did that with her work. So we used containers that were colour-coded. So we had year 9 all in pink, year 8 all in yellow, and year 11 all in green. So everything that she had come in went into a yellow, a pink, or a green container. And with the green containers, there was one, we'll go to what we were saying, there was one for story writing, there was one for medieval poetry, and there was one for Macbeth. And so in those boxes was everything she needed to teach that unit. And then when that unit was finished, she could actually just put that box with everything in it on a shelf. And when she wanted to teach that again, just pull the box out. And it made it really easy for her because previously she'd been grabbing handfuls of paper. Oh, I need that folder, I need this little bit, and carrying them with her to class. So now all she needed to do is walk in, figure out which period was coming up, and take the one box that had everything she needed in it, and it was colour-coded. So really easy, maintainable, replicatable. And so that might be something that works for you if you're a high school teacher.
Yes. I've worked with primary school teachers as well, and the national curriculum has changed things up a little bit. Not that they've changed necessarily, they're not stopping teaching fractions, for instance.
I don't wish they did.
But there's new ways of teaching it and new standards that they have to meet, and I don't really understand it all, so apologies teachers that I do not know the intricacies of your job, but that's good because I don't need to,
because we know the
intricacies of ours.
Thanks, guest.
So when I was working with them, though, it was really great. We went through, with this one particular client that I'm thinking of, we went through their whole garage, and it was years of teaching. Like, they're both similar age to me, so probably been working for close to 20 years, and they had so much resources that they kept. And so it was a really great opportunity to go back over everything. Like, we went through every file and every resource, everything we went through. They hired a massive skip.
Oh, I love it.
And we put things into categories, whether or not they still teach that subject, if they teach it in a way that was still like the resource
relevant,
that we found, and whether they question themselves about whether or not they could find it online. And more often than not, these days, you can find resources online. I think there was probably like only a handful of books that they have bought, like at a PD day, that was a specialty resource, and they were like, actually, this costs money to buy again, and it's not,
and we would use it,
and we will still use it. That's and we
right.
continue to use it. And so that was totally fine. I'm like, of course you can keep that.
That's
like,
great.
And it wasn't because they'd spent money on it that they were keeping it. It's that it was only available by buying it, so they didn't want to buy it again because they already had it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think lots of teachers, in fact, every single teacher I've ever worked with in their garage has boxes of teaching resources that they've brought home with the intention that they will use them again, but 90 times out of 100, 90% of the time never actually go back to. So if you do have resources in your garage that you feel like you can't throw out because they're too good, I'd love you to just challenge yourself to go through them and say, am I realistically going to use this? And if not, you can let it go, whether that be donating it to another teacher that you know or just sending it to the recycling. More from us in just a few minutes. Don't forget to visit our website, theartofdecluttering.com.au, and sign up for our bonus episode that is not so secret anymore.
We've done episodes on linen cupboards, sentimental items, media, baby supplies, donations, weddings, and so many more.
So if you're new to the art of decluttering, you'll find loads of great tips like this one from the episode we did on crafts and hobbies. What I'm saying is the kind of supplies we used to make jewellery back then is completely different to the type of jewellery people wear now.
Yes.
And so you can still have the same hobby, but the products that you use could completely evolve over time.
Yes, and so that's why it's really good to ask, is this still me? And equally so, is this still a passion of mine? Like, am I still passionate about this hobby? And now back to the podcast for so many more tips and tricks. Because it's really hard. I know friends of mine who are kindy or had been kindy teachers for a long time, and then they moved on to different grades, and they're really hoping to get back onto kindy. So they're keeping a whole lot of resources for kindy, but they're teaching grade 3 or grade 5, so they're nowhere near the same type of resources. They're not picture books. And I know at our school, one of our teachers has got a whole kitchen, like play kitchen in her kindy room, which is prep for that first year of primary school.
Foundations.
Yeah, foundations, prep, Queensland, whatever you call it everywhere else. And so she's got a play kitchen, which is great in kindy, but if she moves on to year 6 next year...
Probably not quite so interested.
Yeah, probably not. Well, they probably do want to go back to playing with it so they can stop doing work.
But if teachers have that kind of stuff, what if they just had one box that was like labelled grade 3? And so if you're not teaching that department anymore, put it aside. And then if in 3 or 4 years you still haven't gone back to it, cull it. Get down to really the important things. But one box is plenty if you're planning on going back and teaching a year level again.
Or share resources and say to a teaching partner, hey, you're on grade 3. Would you like my resources this year? I'd like it back at the end of this year.
Great idea.
When we know what classes we're on next year, or if you... And that way you're sharing resources. And you can even say to people, I don't know how this works, if it would work. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. But you could go, hey, I've got a tub of year 3 stuff. I know you're on year 3. Do you want to give me $50 for it?
Yeah.
Like rent it out to them.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this.
Sell it on.
Yeah, we've spoken about this type of economy before, where you can either sell it or rent it out for the year.
It's a great idea. And, you've got to think in schools. I've worked in a primary school as professional organiser. They got me in to actually go and declutter the art room, some classrooms, the office, the resource room, the gym, the music room, the drama. So lots of different spaces. And schools don't have an infinite... Oh, wow.
Wow.
Kirst, I'm coming up with even dodgy words. Like sometimes my words are good, but infinite... It's not one of the better ones. They don't have infinite storage. And so have a think about, like, how are you going to store your resources at school? Do you have an office? Or do you have a classroom and you have to make room in your classroom? Could you set up a small bookshelf? Could you have cube storage? Could you have folders? Could you have a tub that rolls around? Like, really get creative. Do you have a filing cabinet? How is it that you are going to store your resources at school? And how can you stop taking them all home?
Yes. And then equally so at home. How do you store that at home in the season that you're not in?
Great.
Like if you're teaching grade 3 this year, but you've got a box, a tub full of kindy stuff, where are you going to store that? And is it taking up valuable real estate at your home?
Yeah, is it causing tension? Mm-hmm. Do you have a home office that your husband would really like to do his accounts from, but it's full of your school stuff?
Or are you growing a family and you need to turn it into a nursery?
Yeah.
Or what have you? Or do you have a tiny garage that only fits your car, and so you can't have 10 tubs of different age ranges?
Mm. I'm sure there's plenty of teachers listening that are like those super organised teachers like you were talking about. So jump on, give us some of those tips, because you have walked it, you have lived it, you have experienced it, and you have conquered it. So share it with our teachers that are challenged in their organisation, organisationally challenged. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. And then we want to also talk about how do you transport things from school to home?
Yes.
How do you, what is a good way of transporting 30 homework books and marking them in an efficient way so that your kids don't end up marking with red pen all over
keeping them separate
else.
from the blank paper that your 3-year-old wants to draw on. I love rolling storage for teachers, as in literally like a airline hostess rolling suitcase, because I think you can keep things flat, you can zip it up, it keeps things protected if you're running from a classroom in the rain, if you're chucking things in the back of the car and you don't want them to go flying. So something like that, which also means that you're not putting the pressure on your back and carrying kilos of paper to your car every night, can be a great solution.
Yeah, I love that. I also love tubs. What am I trying to say?
You're doing charades.
I
Let's
am
go.
doing
Okay, so
charades.
her hands are out wide. She's carrying something heavy, maybe a cake.
No,
with
more
jelly.
like a storage tub.
Okay, no cake and jelly?
No cake and jelly.
I don't know. Could have been cake and jelly.
Could have-
Whatever.
You're an odd one.
So you're carrying a storage tub. So a storage tub that's easy to carry that you can put your papers in.
Yeah.
So don't buy the 100-litre ones.
No.
Maybe
please
buy a
don't.
50-litre or
Yeah.
even a 25-litre.
Yeah.
And don't hurt your back.
Yes. I do really like the idea of a
Rolling storage.
rolling storage.
Yeah. The reason I say that is because I hurt my shoulder in year 12 and my physio said, Amy, your bag's too heavy because you're taking all your textbooks to school. And so I had to have rolling luggage as my school bag in year 12.
Do you know that some schools don't have lockers?
Oh.
High schools.
Where do you put all your stuff?
I don't know. They have to carry it to and from school every day.
Maybe it's all online now.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have textbooks like we did back in the olden days with our pen and quill.
I'm sure they still had textbooks, but no doubt they do things online.
Yeah, my kids' primary school do most of their stuff online.
Yeah, but they still need to take stuff. I just boggles my mind.
Teachers, here's my top tip for the day. Bum, bum, bum. Please put a password on your phone and your computer, because once you get to high school or even the high end of primary school, if a student can see your computer and can access it, you never know what they're going to put on there or what email they're going to send or what Facebook update they're going to do. So that's just my tidbit. Just lock that and keep your password private to yourself.
Wow. What have your kids done?
Oh, no, not mine, but it's been done.
I'm sure it has. So another thing that teachers find challenging is end of year presents.
Oh, end of year presents. I find it challenging as a parent.
Totally.
I just end up buying them consumables or an experience. So some years we've put in and we've all bought them like a red balloon voucher and said, go skydiving, do something awesome. But some years your kid really wants to buy your teacher perfume or soap or
necklace.
candles. Ugh. So teachers, what do you do? When can you throw stuff out? Is it too early to throw it out on the last day of school on your way home? You kind of just lob it into the skip as you walk out of the school?
Or go to Vinnie's on your way home, Salvos, and donate them.
Is that okay? The world's
not
best
sure if you-
teacher mug? Is it too early on the last day of school to donate that?
Don't do it on the last day. Do it on the week before, because then I can come into the
Someone will
shop and
repurpose
buy it for you again.
I would love to know. Could you guys jump on our Facebook page and tell us the best ever teachers' gifts?
You'll
That would be
save
awesome.
Parents around the art of decluttering a lot of pain and suffering.
Because we had, I think it was last year on my Facebook page, I put a post about teachers' gifts. And I was going, what do you get? Do you get experiences? You get them a gift voucher, you get them movie tickets. And it got like really heated. There were some people that were saying, that's disgusting. You should buy them you should get them something handmade by your children. It's not about the money. It's about saying thank you and then remembering your child. And then there were other people going, we don't want a picture frame of your child sitting in our house. Give me movie tickets. I need to relax after I've had these kids for the year. And
I don't want to remember your child.
It was really heated.
Really?
And people were really offended by the other side.
Wow.
So I am not the person who lets their kid give the teacher a personalised present, because I wouldn't want that from someone else's kid. But I'm an experienced person.
I think it depends on the teacher.
Possibly.
And it depends on the child. Like if they've got a really beautiful bond with that child, they may want to remember that child.
So let's say, scenario, Emily is in love with her grade 1 teacher.
She so is.
There you go. Okay.
Yes.
And at the end of the year, all Amy wants to do is get a photo of her and her teacher from sports day, frame it and give it to her teacher for Christmas. And the teacher is like, oh, Amy, you have been one of my favourites, takes it home. At what point can grade 1 teacher say goodbye to that photo frame?
Oh, that night. Totes.
Okay, right.
Only
Yeah.
because this is me
Yeah,
talking.
yeah.
Like, I would not be offended because it's so hard to tell a 7-year-old girl, I don't think Mrs. Ingre's going to like need your photo. She
So
loves
that's
you,
good. So
dear.
it's about the no, I was going to say the transaction, but that's not the right word. It's about the relationship and it's about the giving and the receiving. That's where the value is.
Yes.
So teachers, if you get crappy gifts, love your students, thank them, and it's totally okay not to keep them.
Yeah, you have permission to do whatever you want.
Yeah. My kids have like mugs that, oh, should I even tell this story? Am I going to get in big trouble? I'm going to tell it. But if you listen to this, you are not to tell my family I've said this, all right? This is just between me and you. A couple of years ago, my kids got these mugs from their great-grandmother for Christmas that had their pictures on it. Like, the kids love them. But my kids don't drink hot drinks. They just don't drink them.